Hey everyone, this is Robert Sosa II, and I'm back today. We're going to be talking about sports. Let's start off with the World Series that took place. So, the Houston Astros won. They won the World Series. They beat the Los Angeles Dodgers, and it was interesting how Game 7 ended up being, because out of all the games, this was kind of the one that felt the least bit special. And Game 7s are usually supposed to be upbeat, usually supposed to be pretty good, usually always has excitement because, well, it's Game 7, where anything could happen, and someone wins and someone goes home, and no more games after that. So, yeah, it did looks like, Astros won. They got a big 5-zip, and they never relinquished that lead, and they never looked back. The Astros pitcher, Yu Darvish, didn't have it, and the other ones, the hitters for the Dodgers just couldn't do anything against the pitching that Dallas had, and so they ended up winning the World Series. And, Springer ended up winning MVP, and everything looked great for Houston, with the World Series. And, of course, right after, there were predictions of who's going to be back, and a lot of people think that the Dodgers, the Indians, maybe the Yankees will come, be the new person in the World Series. So we don't know. But that's what it looks like with regards to things like that. And also sticking to baseball. Now it's almost upon us as free agency and stuff. With regards to the Yankees, there's not much yet. But Masahiro Tanaka decided to stay with the contract he had. He did not opt out. So we're going to have him for another 3 years, and he's going to get paid in that 3-year span about, I think it was $67 million, they said. So, yeah. Now, the Yankees, now that they have that, that's good, because they were going to be worried about their starting pitching a little bit, because if Tanaka opted out, and the only way Tanaka would opt out, I'm sure, if he knew he had people that would be willing to give him, that $100 million contract or something close to that figure, and I guess he knew that they weren't. And there was a couple of reasons why, unfortunately, Tanaka was not going to get what he thought he was going to get. I know one big thing was he wanted to stay here, and I think that's true, because he's a good pitcher. He's been with the Yankees, and they've had success using him. He's had success here, and I'm sure everyone's treated him well. So that was one reason, but also a big reason was his injury. He had a partially torn UCL, and with that injury that he had, it was that means that when it first happened, the Yankees were deciding either for him to have surgery, and that would have ended his season and ended, his baseball career for a while. And then once they decided no, they said, well, since it's a partial tear, it's not going to be too bad. We'll just figure out what to do. So I think they rehabbed him a little bit, and then they just continued to pitch him, and the UCL tear has not fully teared. So that was a big setback, with regards to free agency. Would a team want to invest a lot of money in him in years when they know there's at any moment he could be pitching and then all of a sudden his arm goes? Now, at the beginning of the season, people were worried about that. With the shoulder injury he had, would it have, was it because of the elbow? And it turned out it was two completely different things. And the shoulder ended up, healing fine. And once that happened, then everything was good. So that's the reason why I believe, and a lot of people believe, that Tanaka is back, due to the fact that he wanted to be here, and also that there was really no one that was going to give him a good contract just because of the injury he has. But, if he stays the next 3 years in the World Series, or hopefully win a World Series, wins the World Series, then who knows? It's a different situation, and he's going to be a free agent, and then let's see, maybe someone will take a chance. But, yeah, And then also we gotta see what the Yankees will do with CC Sabathia. He's not under contract anymore, and he was really good for them. He pitched well. You know, every time the Yankees needed him, he pitched well, because there was a statistic that every time the Yankees were losing, he came up and he won. He won like 10 games that season. After the Yankees lost one game, he came back and stabilized it with a win. So, even though his age, he is up there. He's, I believe, in the 30s. He seems like he knows how to, he knows how to use the stuff he has now, and I think it would be beneficial. Now I'm not saying give him like whatever he's asking for. I would think if you can negotiate within reason, maybe, a 1-year deal or maybe a 2-year deal with some kind of opt-out after one, if you don't, something like that, where you bring him back and you could just build on that. And then I know another thing that the Yankees are looking at, even though they are looking for, Brian Cashman said they are looking for a manager, and they are gonna, look at all these people, and they're gonna want to test them out with the media, because I think a lot of the things that Joe Girardi, unfortunately, the reason he got let go was, one, they said because he wasn't communicating with the younger players or players in general that well, which I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, from everything you could see on TV and in things like that, he had a decent relationship with players. I mean, Aaron Judge, who is on the cover of MLB 18, MLB The Show 2018, he said he had a good relationship with Joe Girardi and that he'll miss him. So we don't know exactly, because, that's what you see on TV and see an interaction like that. Who knows in the clubhouse and when there aren't cameras. So you got to give him the benefit on that. But one thing I know that is true, that one of the reasons they let Joe Girardi go is because, unfortunately, I mean, I still think maybe they could have worked on it, but was his interactions and his relationship with the media in New York. Anytime he had a press conference, he always seemed like, and I seen the press conferences, on the Yes Network, they would have, they would go to the manager's report, and he would be in the press conference and talk. And you could always see it, no matter who it was, any questions. He was never rude. He was always polite, but you could always see that this was like the last place he wanted to be here. Like, if you asked him, Joe, do you want to be here? And like you gave him truth serum, telling he would say, no, I don't want to be here. You could just see it for two reasons. One, the way he talked with the media was never, it was not that it was rude, but it was never welcoming or like, hey, what's up, John? That's a good question you had there. And then he's going to say it. Now, I'm not saying everyone's like, well, once in a while, you should always, you could have a decent relationship with some media guys, not everyone, but he seemed like he never had that relationship. And another way you could tell also was anytime they asked him, okay, any more questions, and no one had questions, and they said, okay, Joe, he would get up and like speed walk away. It wasn't like get up and wave, goodbye, or get up and just, like, say thank you and then leave. He'd always get up and he would just walk away. Now, that's another reason. So I get some of the reasons why they let him go. Although, so they're going to now look for guys, and they're going to, one part of the interview process, they'll put every guy out there to talk to the media to see, I guess, how they talk or the relationship that they could gauge they're going to have. So, but another person in free agency, player-wise, the Yankees are looking at, or hopefully looking at, is this player from Japan, who, I think his name is Otani, I believe. He is a phenomenal pitcher and a phenomenal player. Like, he actually hits and fields a position. Now, I don't know how feasible it is, how much, they would have to get him with some money or what anything like that is like. But that's another person the Yankees are looking at. That's interesting. Let's see. Everyone says he's really good pitching and he's really good hitter. So I don't know if the Yankees look at him, are they going to look at him as a fielder or are they going to look at him as a pitcher? It's really interesting to see how that will work out. Especially it's not like, if it was, for example, the Mets were going to get him, then I would say maybe, not that it would make more, It make more. Well, it would make it to me. It would make a little more sense just because you're in the National League, you need a pitcher, and usually pitchers because there's no DH hit, you know. But we'll see. I don't know if the Yankees maybe what they're gonna do with him or if they'll even get him. But that's something interesting because who knows? If you have all the players and pitchers you need, then you could use him as a fielder. If you don't, then you could use him as pitcher. I don't think you could do both though, just because first of all it's baseball. There's 162 games. And that's taxing, playing two positions and two grinding positions. Pitcher, you gotta throw, and there's gonna be people hitting balls off you. It's gonna be a lot of innings to eat up, and also hitting. You have to come every day, be prepared. So I think the Yankees obviously maybe they'll check him out first in both positions to see which one they think is more beneficial for them. But I don't think they're gonna use him to hit and pitch for them. I just don't see that happening. And then the Yankees, they got to do. The Yankees, you wonder how next season is gonna go. What kind of manager you're gonna get, and if the manager can be a seamless transition into the spring training and things like that, because it's a big step. Having a new manager with these kind of young guys in the position they came from one win away going to the World Series, and so we'll see what happens with that. And hopefully Joe Girardi gets a job somewhere else because I think he's a good manager. I think he will. And Brian Cashman did say he was good and he was someone that is a good manager. But I just find it odd because everyone's complimenting each other, right? And I guess they're trying to say this is like a mutual thing, but it's just weird because Joe is not bashing Yankees, which I'm not saying you should do. I'm just saying, it'd be understandable if you're upset to maybe not bash them, but say something like, oh, I don't understand why Brian Cashman had done this, or, I understand, something like that. Or why would Brian Cashman just outly say, he did say it, but in a roundabout way about these things, and he always was very respectful, Joe Girardi. So I just find it interesting. You're being polite and nice to these guys, but at the same time, you let him go. So I just guess because he was a good soldier with the Yankees and I don't think he would ever disrespect the Yankees. So it's just weird to see how that's working out. And then unfortunately, in a related baseball news, Roy Halladay, former pitcher, he was 40 years old. Unfortunately, yesterday, died in a single. It was a new airplane that he got. And he was recently a new flyer, and he crashed into the Gulf waters in Florida. And it's just unfortunate to see that happen. He was 40 years old. He had 3 kids. I believe it was 2 boys and a girl and a wife. And now he passed away yesterday. He was 40 years old. He played with the Blue Jays. He played with the Phillies. He's the second player ever to get, to have a shutout in the playoffs, and everyone from that said he was a good guy, and that it's a shame that this happened. And so he was a good pitcher, and when he's eligible, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. And so unfortunately, he won't be there that day because of what happened yesterday. But he was a good pitcher. He was a good player. He was a good father from what everyone says, and you could see. So it's just a shame that happened. 40 years old. That's not a whole. It's sometimes, grand scheme of things, yes, 40 years, it's 40 years, but you shouldn't die that young, unfortunately. And so that happened, and it was unfortunate to see, but hopefully, I wish the family and everyone the best, and hopefully we won't see things like this anymore. But you never could predict life, and life is unpredictable. But from a baseball perspective, he was a great player, great pitcher, and he'll be missed. So, I'll be back.